Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Christian here, and we're talking about the kids. Harafe wanted to come say hi. Harafe. We did have someone, I think his name is Larry. Hey, Larry. Larry said he loves the videos to keep them coming, so we're going to do that for you guys. I'm going to make sure I keep on doing the videos. Harafe here is definitely spelled Hiraffe. It's pronounced that way, but it's spelled regular giraffe way. All right. So if y'all want to know who Harafe is, this is Harafe, born and raised in Burlington. Okay. In Burlington, Texas. Because I bought it from Burlington in Texas. So. Born in Burlington, Texas. No, but this is prophetess, evangelist, designate, elect Bishop Harafe. Always speaking a word out of his lips. He whispers. He does not talk loud. Okay? The Lord doesn't move in noise. The Lord moves in silence. All right. Just had to make sure I let y'all know Harafe is still here. He ain't broke. He just, resting. That reminds me of the whole moving in silence thing and whether or not God is the author of confusion. That's the video coming up too, because I got to talk to y'all about that. It's the Lord, the author of confusion. Author, not Arthur. That's a show on PBS, but get it right. Author. Is the Lord the author of confusion? I mean, well, if the Lord is, he would definitely be a New York Times bestseller, because there be some confusion authorized, okay? Especially at church. So much confusion. I don't know if I want to get to that. Do I want to do that one right now? No, I'm going to make that the next video. But it would seem that the Lord is the author of confusion because a lot of the representatives are giving problematic. Who wrote that chapter? Rip it out. Trash it. Start again. All right. 3 points that I make before every video gets started. It is number 1, you are not alone. Number 2, you are not crazy. I feel like you do. And number 3, your creator, God, still loves you. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, comment if you're interested, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss when I upload new content, new topics, or thought-provoking conversations. I'm just saying, we get it in over here. I would have thought by now I would have ran out of topics, but child, the people in church keep doing things. And then I remember I was saved for 25 years. And I got a lot to talk about. So y'all shouldn't have did it because now you're content. Okay, so this video is going to be discussing why we've decided that there will be no church for our children. Why we've decided to not raise our children in church. And I'm going to start by saying this. We do not desire to lay a foundation of indoctrination that will cause our children to dig their way out of beliefs, limiting beliefs, small thoughts, punishment, fear, nothingness, feelings of inadequacy. I don't want our children to have to break that off of their lives. We in church, you sing about break every chain, but most of the chains on people in church were bought, paid for, and assembled by their pastors onto them. And so when we talk about chains and we talk about religious beliefs, we have to understand that they go hand in hand. Because some of these religious beliefs literally are toxic and they are chaotic and they're problematic and they're limiting. And it doesn't feel good as an adult now to be doing the work to get away from this stuff. And then looking back at the people who are still in it and wanting to save them, but they think they're saved already and you're the one that's lost. We'd rather not do that to our babies, okay? Let them choose how they want to live. So definitely the foundation is no indoctrination. I'm going to give you the definition of indoctrination. It's the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Uncritically, I had to look the word up because I'm like, okay, what is uncritically? Uncritically is pretty much when you don't take consideration of what's right or wrong. You don't have critical judgment or consideration of something. and its validity or its invalidation, if you will. Some things in church and religious belief systems are wrong. They just don't add up. But when you're teaching and you're indoctrinating someone, you don't take that into consideration. You just want to pound and press your beliefs on someone, and you don't care. You're not critical of what you're teaching. Even in my videos, even in my thought process and my 2 cents, I'm critical of myself. Like, no, that didn't make sense. That's not what happened. That's not how that went. Right? Like, I can see the other side of that. You have to be critical of what it is that you're sharing so that you're clear and unbiased on it, just in case you might miss it. That's not what's taught when you're indoctrinating someone. You teach them hardcore, uncritical of the beliefs that this is it. This is all you need to be believing, knowing, trusting, and seeing and seeking out. Don't go seek another referral. Don't go try to find another source. This the one. What I'm teaching you is the only answer. We don't want to do that. When you're raising children and you look at their minds and how it's constantly growing and taking things in, and you start filling it with things that you understand, you as an adult understands from a standpoint of, this is how I want their lives to flow. But on top of what they're learning in their day-to-day, now they start to see everything through the lens of salvation. What's a sin? It's pressure. It's an overwhelming feeling of anxiety of, am I doing something wrong right now? Like, is God not pleased? And all of that is a lot to try to overcome as you're growing up. And it's a standard that's set that's not even based on anything that will affect them outside, like in the real world. Like, I'm not trying to dish you in church, but the principles that most people have in church don't correlate or actually activate in real life. Nobody else is living by that exact same belief system. We just want you we just want you to live by the laws of the land. Anything else you learn in church, that's moral, that's integral. But in real life, the story of David and Goliath, right, can just be looked at as overcoming a situation that could have been, that is bigger than you. So there are implications that aren't always scriptural or biblical out in the real world. And when you're talking about children, it just comes down to the value system. I would very much rather, and this is getting to one of the points here, I would very much rather my husband and I be the powerful influence that teaches our children the life values, integrity, and moral standards that they need to operate with all men. And by men, I mean humans, with all men and women in the world, on this earth. Not just a God is watching you standpoint, but a this is how it should just be. This is what is right. This is what is fair. This is what is balanced. And if everything is through rose-colored glasses of salvation and damnation, you're messing people up. I know people right now that won't call a thing when it comes to racism because they're saved. They're out here calling it the falling of man or some stupid ish, right? Or the partiality of man. That's just the partiality of man. What are you talking about? Give context to the children you are talking to. Give them references. Give them background. Give them history. You cannot be out here folding up and pushing away the mat of truth because you have a truth you want to teach that negates or puts on some kind of fog glasses to the realities in the world they're going to have to deal with. You can teach them what you want to at church, but when they get out of this church and they go in the real world and you've been telling them things from a skewed viewpoint of how they're just supposed to love everybody and forget this and let this happen, turn the other cheek, whatever. Is that how God would respond? The WWJD bracelets, what would Jesus do? That was a reminder to pretty much be a mat for people at church to walk over you and do what they want to do to you. And only speak up when it's people in the world doing it. I just don't want to subscribe to that, and I don't want our children to either. So we are just not going for it. Next up, Sunday school isn't a foundation we want to lay. I've told my mother this on several occasions because, she definitely is proud of herself for raising us in church our whole lives and giving us that foundation. And I'm grateful that she, definitely gave us a spiritual background, something that we can, be anchored on in our values and just know what having a conscience feels like. I'm not going to say what's right and wrong because that's all man-made too. But the conscience that we have and the value system that we also have in place are based off of how she raised us at home. Going to church was cool, but I didn't listen to any of it, right? I didn't listen to the sermons and the pastor preaching. It was over my head. I was a child. I couldn't process it. And if a lot of adults are honest, your children are not processing what's being yelled at them at church. They're not interested. And it's not offensive, but we were always made to sit up straight, pay attention. Don't be talking, don't be playing. Spirits are being cast out and they looking for somewhere to go. What? I am 10. What the fuck? What is you talking about? Confusion. Nobody was explaining. Everybody was just saying. So when you think about Sunday school, you have these stories that are being shared with us on colorful pages or whatever. Jonah in the well, Noah's Ark, David and Goliath again. You got the story of, what was Delilah? Yeah, was it David and Delilah? David and Delilah, child, whoever it was. Him and her with the hair and all this other stuff. All of these things sound like fairy tales, right? Again, the process and the life lessons out of it instead of the church side of it. When you start giving everything a spiritual foundation, it makes it very hard for you to start making sense of the real world. Everybody does not live by church beliefs and principles. And you're doing yourself a disservice when Sunday school is what's taught to make sure you have your child here to get this, to do that. That's fine. That's one day a week. But we're talking about 6 other days that I have to just teach you the regular principles and life values that I want you to be governed by in order to have a successful, sustainable life as an asset to any environment you're in. And your value system just needs to be one of high standards and morals. This is how we conduct ourselves as sergeants in this household, right? This is our mantra. This is our family dynamic. We don't lie on others, right? We don't mistreat people, right? Like those are the foundational principles that you start investing into your children. You have that right and that freedom. My mother did it with us. We weren't disrespecting adults. We weren't inviting friends over to our house without her permission, and we weren't going to spend the night at nobody's house, period. Not without her permission, just don't ask. Those are values, and we knew why. My mother would give us the reasons behind that. At church, you're told a lot of things, but you're not given the backup of why. Everything is just, it's a sin. It'll send you to hell. God is not pleased. But at home, we were getting more real life information on what we were expected to do and why we were expected to live that way. Why lying was wrong. Why sneaking was wrong, right? You may want to sneak out and go here and something can happen to you and I don't even know what's happened. Somebody can do something to you and I don't even know what's been done because I think you're somewhere else and you're not. Values, morals, integrity. Not sending you to church. I'm not. Because it's just a broad stroke and a brush over real life issues. Be good to your mom and dad. We're going to learn the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Can you go further in depth with that, please, and stop being surface? I knew all the 10 Commandments. I don't know them by heart anymore now. But I did then. But there was no context or backup or information given on that. There was no expounding on how that relates to real life. It's a law of the land. Now, come on, make the distinctions here. So we want to send people out here with, I'm not going to use the firearm thing. I was going to say loaded weapons. We want to send people out here with books, right? With the book, but you open the pages and it's empty. It's nothing of value. And I'm not talking about the Bible. I just mean in general as an analogy. You're sending your children out like the Bible says, shoot them out as arrows and send them out into the world. You're doing that, but you're sending them out with lopsided, like a lopsided inside. Like one side is overly full of spiritual knowledge and information and the other side is just lacking, It's literally out here with nothing, malnourished, just deteriorating because you're not feeding and you're not balancing it out. balance your children out. You may want to send them to the summer camps and, vacation Bible schools and all this other stuff, church stuff, but they're getting all of that and they're out there with their hands raised, crying and all of these things, and they're still popping pills, right? They still experimenting sexually with their friends and whosoever else they find online. That's when you have to step up and actually teach more than just scripture and why you shouldn't be doing it, or no, what you better not be doing. Because it wasn't no why. We were never told why we shouldn't do things that were church taught, right? No sex before marriage. It wasn't no more conversation after that. We weren't having a conversation about sex. We were just told no sex before marriage. We were just told you ain't dating nobody till you 18. You can't go on dates. We weren't told why. We didn't have conversations. So it's surface in church, but then the real world slaps your ass when you get outside in the streets and you don't have no principles and no standing, no values, and no way of navigating how everybody else is living. Everybody else got some kind of skills. Everybody else got some kind of information. Hard Knock Life, anybody? Somebody got taught something, but it wasn't you. So we won't be taking our children to church. Next up, their minds are impressionable and cannot process the weight of gravity of sin and death. I literally cannot say this enough, that putting out punishment in place of natural responses and reactions, sharing that, Jesus died for our sins, rose again on the third day, rolled the stone away, all of those things, it sounds magical. It just does. It was just for so long I was trying to decipher what really happened versus what didn't, because I was a kid and I'm also watching Disney movies, okay? And I'm looking at what's happening over here and it sounds like that too. So you have to help kids. They're very impressionable and their minds are not able to process all that you're sharing with them, but you want them to take it as their truth, their anchor, and what they would be able to refute or rebuttal with their friends, their children. I mean, their peers, their childlike peers. I can't imagine being 9 or 10 trying to expound upon the scripture because my friends stole my snacks and I'm out here trying to, spit the commandment to them about wanting your neighbor's stuff, coveting your neighbor's things. I'm 9, but I haven't been equipped. I don't understand, but I don't have guidance on how to deal with you. Because I'm out here being told about things that, hey, maybe I should learn when I'm older and I can really start to put this together and determine whether or not I believe it or not. But it's been forced upon me, so I'm just taking it as their word. I know that my children are impressionable. I understand that we have a large mandate as adults to raise children who will be assets in society and will also be able to function on their own properly, mentally first. Not just what people tell them to believe, but what they can find out for themselves, factual, actual proven information in every situation. And if I start clouding that now with things that I have to over explain or just shut them down and say, because I said so, which a lot of church belief systems are because I said so, and there's no backing up. And even now when I'm talking to some older people that are still in church that I know, family, friends, when I start breaking things down logically, like, why are y'all still having pastors' appreciations? Like, why are you guys still giving to a whole grown man who can work or do whatever and is probably getting church salary anyway, tax-free money? Y'all going to work and working hard to get past the 150? All of y'all giving past the 150? It's giving multi-level marketing scam. And I'm supposed to teach my children to honor God while serving man. I'm not doing that. No, I'm just not. So if the gift or the response is sin and death because you don't do what someone wants you to do, that to me is definitely breaking down the foundation of someone being able to choose and determine what actually serves them and who they're going to serve. And I don't think that that's fair. So impressionable minds should not have religious beliefs carved into them. That's just me. Teach values, integrity, and higher moral standards, and allow the principles to flow through that to where when they're older and they may, research religions or whatever, or not, they can determine if that's what they want. If that's what they want to believe in, if that's what they want to choose, if that's how they want to apply their belief system. Like, okay, my mom and dad did teach me about, being kind to people and doing unto others as I would want them to do unto me. There's a way to still put those principles in place, but you don't have to include the lack element. You don't have to include the fear element. You don't have to include the hell element where your children are now scared to do anything because they feel like someone's watching them, judging them, waiting to condemn them. No. Last point. We are the examples and influence that will teach life values that should be based on integrity and morals, not fear and punishment from God. So I've already gone over that point. That is truly how we feel. We treat people as fairly as we can. We're learning every day. My husband and I are. We're not perfect by any means. We do get it wrong. We do miss the mark on a lot of things in life. I'm not talking spiritual. I'm talking as humans because we all do. It's all a process. It's all a learning experience and a curve. And you have to trust and know and believe that the people you are raising, they're watching you and they're counting on you. And what you put in them now is what they'll be able to withdraw from in the future. And if I can teach you a foundation of faith in abundance and belief in yourself, and to be reassured that if you need help or if you're suffering or struggling with something, you can come to me. You can go to your dad. There are other resources where you can talk to people. You are loved. You lack nothing. I don't want to hurt you. Nobody should want to hurt you. If I'm teaching that, but then I'm going to take you to church where they're going to tell you that you can go to hell for doing wrong and disobeying mom and dad is bad. And when God isn't pleased with you, certain things will happen. I'm not going to let you put that in anybody's mind that I'm raising, because then they have to go back through and deconstruct that once they're older. Like, wow, I remember I was told X, Y, and Z. I remember I was told that I am to suffer for Christ's sake. And now you just don't have any boundaries or limits on what people can do to you because you're suffering for Christ's sake. You're out here being mistreated by everybody because you don't have a foundation that doesn't include indoctrination. So these are some of the reasons. I want children, all children for that matter, and I have a video on that as well if religion is forced on you, from childhood. I want all children to have the opportunity, the balanced opportunity to choose. And I know that my husband and I are the greatest examples. We're the greatest influencers that our children can ever have, ever. All of the things that we didn't have, that we didn't do, that we didn't learn, or that we weren't exposed to. I'm not saying we're going to absolutely give them all of those things, but there have been learning experiences that we now can determine how we will navigate parenting, how we will navigate belief systems and tear down certain things and work a little bit harder so our children don't see things and then have to go and fight to get freedom from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen some things living in poverty growing up. It's not my mom's fault, but I now know that my children will never know certain things exist in that way. If you see a rat or a roach or a bug, it ain't gonna be in our house. That's just me, because I've experienced it in my home. So it's a difference. It doesn't make it bad experiences. It just makes it things you build upon and you start to remove from your experience. Like, okay, just because I had this doesn't mean you have to see it like this. Just because I didn't see entrepreneurship growing up don't mean you won't see it. You finna run all around this 2,400 square foot warehouse and manufacturing facility because this is ours, right? I'm not going to make you be quiet at home or when we're outside playing, don't scream, but we're outside. What am I supposed to scream at, girl? I'm a kid, right? So children are to be seen and not heard. All of these are belief systems, and all of these are things that are compound effects that start to drown out a person's identity. And when you get to church, it just does it even more. And by the time you're an adult, you don't know who you are. Whew. Dangerous place to be. But those are just some of the points on why we decided that we will not be indoctrinating our children with church. Some people may feel like, well, your children need a foundation. They have a great one. They do. Talk to my 4-year-old, it'll blow your mind. Sister girl got it going on in a lot of ways. And I can see great potential in both of them. And I'm grateful for that. They're not overly spiritual. They have a conscience. They apologize. They know the things that we expect from them. And we're able to set that foundation based on our understanding, knowledge, and information. and relay it to them in age-appropriate manners that will be able to be built upon. And if we miss church here or there, they don't have to feel like they're disconnected from their source. No, baby. The light is within. So let's start there. It starts at home, and you have the power and the ability to do that and choose for your family what you want to do. But a lot of you have already commented and shared how church really did have you bound. And if you're thinking about sharing that with your children, remember what it did to you. That's all I'm going to say. And if you choose to still engage and be in church, just make sure that you're having further conversations at home. Don't just let church be the only time your family discusses your beliefs. Don't let that be. There may be things said in church that you need to come home and clarify. Do the work. Don't be lazy. Don't just let the pastor raise your family. Just like you shouldn't just let a teacher raise your children. Okay. I've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have too. If there's any comments or suggestions or questions, you are free to leave them in the comments below. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I did not edit any of that stuff into the video, but you just saw it. I know you did. Okay, I'll catch you guys for more of my 2 cents later. Bye.